So, in response to the Elias Lindholm and Andrei Kuzmenko trade, we've made a few videos talking about the idea of what the Canucks executives and Elliot Friedman went out there and said about the acquisition. We also talked about whether or not Lindholm would re-sign with Vancouver. But in today's video, I wanted to talk about both of these guys and just give some of the updates as to where they are going to be played, as well as how everything seems to fit. Because when it comes to Elias Lindholm, we had ourselves some tweets made by journalists who have been watching the Canucks practice. This is Thomas Drance from earlier today. Canucks practice lines remain unchanged from Sunday. The first line sees Pia Sutar alongside of JT Miller and Brock Besser. The second line sees Ilya Mikheyev with Pettersson and Lindholm. Third line, you've got Joshua Blueger-Garland, and on the fourth line, you've got Höglander, Aman, and Lafferty. Everybody else rounds out the rest of the lineup on the D-core, and the interesting thing about this is the fact that they do have Lindholm as a right-wing guy. Normally, we have seen the Pettersson line go in the form of Kuzmenko, Petey, and then Mikheyev, so flipping Mikheyev over to his opposite wing, keeping Pettersson in the middle, and having Lindholm as that right-handed right-wing option certainly is an interesting way to go about it. This is exactly what Rick Tocchet has been building, though. You can see throughout the entire lineup, all the right wings are all right-handed. Besser, Lindholm, Garland, and Lafferty each are suited up on that right. But the interesting thing about this second line is because of Lindholm's face-off capabilities, if you really wanted to put Lindholm either in the middle, move Mikheyev back to the right, and put Pettersson on the left, it actually wouldn't be that bad of a move. You could have equally Pettersson or Lindholm splitting the load as center or winger on this line because they can both take faceoffs, they can both win draws. Lindholm is arguably a better faceoff guy than Elias Pettersson is, historically speaking at least. And so for Mikheyev to be the extra guy rounding out this top unit, it's going to be interesting to see the speed come together, especially with Lindholm's sniping ability on the rush. Lindholm is a very capable two-way player. Mikheyev can play well two-way as well. He backchecks pretty hard. And Elias Pettersson can strip the puck of his opponents once in a while. So this line honestly seems to be somewhat of a shutdown line too, on top of having all the offensive potential it does. No disrespect, of course, to Andrei Kuzmenko, but when the line was Pettersson, Mikheyev, Kuzmenko, you kind of started to see the cracks in Kuzmenko's forechecking. You started to see the cracks in Kuzmenko's forechecking and backchecking ability, especially when Rick Tocchet was going out there and giving him limited shifts. It just made us focus on him even more. And everything kind of fell down the drain when it came to Andrei Kuzmenko's productivity, usage, and overall trust in the Vancouver Canucks lineup. Lindholm, as we've talked about in multiple videos already, he is exactly what the Canucks were looking for. Right-handed center, can win draws, good defensively, can shoot with the puck, and who doesn't really need the puck on his stick all too much to be an effective player. He's honestly his best when he plays away from the biscuit. So seeing Elias and Elias together is a very good combination for sure, and this bodes even further when you look at the Canucks' power play. Because when you take a look at the movement, they have changed things around a little bit. Lindholm is now in the net front presence instead of Brock Besser. Besser is now on the left flank instead of JT Miller. Miller is in the middle, Pettersson is on that right wing, and then you've got Quinn Hughes up top controlling everything from the perimeter. Lindholm as one of these just trigger guys who can put the puck in the back of the net on rebounds and tips actually seems like a pretty good fit. Besser on that left side, I really want to see him going out there and sniping goals again. If we can get a few OV one-timer bombs from Brock Besser with this new power play unit, then that would be very good for everybody involved. And then, of course, Pettersson and Miller. Right side Pettersson, he can snipe it. Miller in the middle, he can make those tips when Hughes decides to take the shot. I like this power play setup a lot. It's kind of what I had in mind the moment they announced the Lindholm trade, that yeah, Pia Sutar is no longer going to be that top unit power play guy. It's going to be Lindholm. They've got to put him on because Kuzmenko was a right-handed shot, and he fit very well in this unit last year. So having Lindholm, Besser, Miller, Pettersson, and Hughes definitely is not a bad thing. Now, when it comes to Andrei Kuzmenko, man, I have not made any commentary about Kuzmenko ever since he got sent over to Calgary, but I'll just go out there and wax poetic about him one more time before we end off this video, because for Calgary Flames fans, you guys are not only getting a hockey player who, when he is confident, he is absolutely electric, you are getting a very cool dude. This is what we were seeing out of him from earlier today, the press conference of Kuzmenko speaking to the media, and all the replies from Calgary Flames fans are just like, oh, I love this guy already. He's so happy. He's always smiling. He seems really cool. And yeah, he is really cool. There's a reason this guy was a fan favorite in Vancouver last year, despite having 21 points in 43 games this year. People still believed in him. Not necessarily because of the 74 points and 39 goals last year, not necessarily because of the 29% shooting percentage he had or whatever it was, but because this is a cool dude. And after watching a few interviews, just listening to what he has to say and his perspective on things, seeing how he's learning English and how he's been progressing in that way, this is a fun, loving personality that you will go out there and adore if you're a Calgary Flames fan. So for Andrei Kuzmenko, not only is he a super talented player when he's confident and when he's on, you can see he's only on pace for 14 goals and 37 points this year, a big drop-off from his 39-goal season last year. This is a guy whom you're going to want to root for, and a lot of Canucks fans are still willing to root for him, even after the really bad start and the Tocchet scratchings, the benchings, and him not really getting the best opportunities. He didn't fit in this Canucks system. The way Rick Tocchet wants the Canucks to run, Kuzmenko unfortunately does not fit that mold, so we'll see if he's able to fit more so in a Calgary Flames system, this time playing with some of the best players on the team. He's playing on a line with Igor Sharangovich and Jonathan Huberdeau, which is very interesting when you consider the rest of the Calgary Flames lineup. Now, of course, he was playing with Mikheyev and Pettersson in Vancouver. I'd go out there on a limb and say that Huberdeau and Sharangovich in a top-line role could probably be more beneficial for Kuzmenko, especially if it's not Rick Tocchet as his head coach. But this is what Eric Francis went out there and tweeted out in regards to Kuzmenko. With Huberdeau slated to skate opposite Kuzmenko on a line center by Sharangovich, it's only natural for people to be fascinated by whether the Flames' new top line can play defense. Okay, that's kind of funny. Yeah, they're acknowledging the Kuzmenko shortcomings from Vancouver very well with this sentence. Fact is, with Lindholm gone as the line's defensive conscience, they have a few other options, given the fact they'd prefer to keep the Kadri line intact with Pospisil and Zari, as well as Backlund's tried and true line with Mangiapane and Coleman. Buckle up, Flames fans, the second half is bound to get even more interesting than the first. So that seems to be the status quo here. A first line that may not be able to play defense, but if your first line is scoring at 2-3 goals a game, then you don't care how well they play defense. If Huberdeau, Sharangovich, and Kuzmenko each get 3 points a night, who cares how many goals they are for against? This is a team that is constructed with their defensive presences in the middle here. Because Elias Lindholm is gone, you don't have that defensive mind on the top line, but instead you have 3 offensive guys that hopefully will be able to go out there and bode well. Kuzmenko playing on the right side is really interesting. He's mostly been on the left wing, so seeing him actually play a right wing role this time is going to be cool, especially with a playmaker like Huberdeau hopefully setting him up. We also had the power play lines to work with here. Flames are already putting Kuzmenko to work on the power play. He's shown off his shot while also working the net front spot too. He's going to be playing with Sharangovich, Kadri, Huberdeau, and Hanifin. So that's going to be the number 1 unit in Calgary for the PP. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about where Elias Lindholm fits on the Vancouver Canucks power play. He's going to be here with Besser, Miller, Pettersson, and Hughes. How Andrei Kuzmenko fits on the Flames power play, how he fits on the lines over here, and what Elias Lindholm could do on this line with Pettersson and Mikheyev as well. There's a lot to talk about for Flames and Canucks fans heading into the next few games over here, but for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your thoughts about Lindholm being in this spot? What are your thoughts on Kuzmenko playing where he is? He's a first-line guy now. Hopefully it sticks around. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.